Hi, welcome to the Wise Heart Wellness Scientist Sage Sangha. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the idea of rain. And we're going to talk about lots of ideas about rain. But to start, I wanted to just talk a bit about what people feel about the rain, because a lot of people have lots of different reactions to rain. And so thinking that, rain is just lovely or it might spoil your day. So, how we come to rain might show us how we come to life, because the idea of something, that we think it should be able to control it, that sort of thing. But of course, we can't. We can only control how we come to it, very much like the rest of life. And the same thing with the rest of life, how rain affects things is really varied. So it can literally, at the most basic, make them wet. Things get wet, but it can destroy things too, like a simple chalk picture on the concrete, or the floods recently in Montreal. It rained so much; they were very destructive when it got over 100 centimeters of rain in a very short time, and there were lots of problems with that kind of rain. But it also can transform, heal, and reveal. A lot of the findings that people find dinosaur bones or old ancient tombs or all sorts of things when the rain comes down and washes things away. And that can be true on all sorts of things. And literally, without rain, we would all die. We would have no food. There, so much beauty would be lost. Lakes, rivers, life itself would end. So rain is this absolutely necessary, integral part of life and just the cycle on our planet. And so it's really, really important to us in that physical way, but it's also important to us emotionally, psychologically, and even in spiritual life. A lot of people talk about their emotional reactions to rain. They might get really happy, or they might love walking in puddles, or they might get distressed because they don't want to go outside, or it looks gray instead of sunny. And that impacts our psychological state about how we perceive it, how we experience it, and what we do with that experience. And of course, in spiritual life, there are so many stories about water, from the very, with being blessed with water, things like that. And so it's really integral of all parts of our life, not just, do we have any food? We have water to drink, but really all over. And I talk about it as the weather also inside of us too, because it rains inside of us too. We have reactions to things, we get depressions, we have all sorts of things going on. And one of my very favorite teachers ever, Tara Brach, who's been just central to my own well-being for decades now. And she talks about using the acronym RAIN to explore what's going on with us and how we go along with it and what might happen, what might not. And the idea here is that we learn to really look into our own inner weather, okay? And the acronym that she uses represents just 4 simple steps. And it is recognize what's going on, allow the experience to be there just as it is. We'll talk some more about this in a moment. And investigate with interest, with curiosity and care and compassion. So investigate it. What's going on? And then nurture ourselves regardless of how we feel, what we find, what we found in our investigations. The recognizing part really means consciously acknowledging things. And so it might be the idea, the moment that you're noticing, the thoughts, the feelings, the behaviors, all those things that might be affecting you. And that can be done with just a really simple, might say it out loud, or you might say it in your mind, a mental note, but just noting, oh, I'm uncomfortable, I'm sad, I'm cold, I'm hungry. So it's all sorts of things like that. Maybe I notice that my knee is sore, or I notice that the sound outside is bothering me. Just noticing what's going on, just really stopping and recognizing all of those things that are going on in us all the time. And then we go down to allow. And allow means we don't necessarily jump up to shut the window if we're cold, or allow, not allow those bad emotions, but look for those good emotions. And there is a time and place for that. If somebody's doing a gratitude list, things like that. But to do RAIN, on whatever's going on in the moment, especially when you're working your way through something, it's so powerful to just allow whatever is there to be there. And so you're not trying to avoid anything, and you're not trying to grab anything or fix anything. We have a epidemic of trying to figure and fix in our cultures. And so this part of it here is really saying it's okay. It is okay to feel whatever I'm feeling, to think whatever I'm thinking. This belongs here. It's not an error. It's not a problem. It's just my current experience. And then investigate a little deeper. But that pause about allowing allows us to do the next part of investigation. So, because if we are trying to struggle with it back and forth, like, no, I don't really want to think about that, or I don't want to feel that, I don't like that, then we don't investigate very well. So when we go into the investigation, again, it's just with interest. Again, not the fix and figure sort of orientation, but to really see what's going on and to care about what's going on. So we go in there with our curiosity and what's really happening here? And I might say, well, somebody in my household upset me. And when I really sit into it, I might be really tired or really distressed from something else that happened earlier in the day, long before I ever got in front of someone of my family when I got home. And it might be that I am just feeling sad or insecure, or I might be hungry, or maybe I need to go and eat. But really, what needs my attention? What needs to be in my awareness? And really, it's how am I experiencing this? And whether it's a thought or whether it's a feeling, a sensation in my body, it really is what's going on. What's the whole picture there? So I might have a thought about, I'm hungry, but I don't want to cook. And then I might get a thought in my head right away, well, that's just lazy, or that sort of thing. Or, oh, I just want this other thing that isn't really a good food for me. And I might have a lot of things going on in a flow. And it really is coming into those moments and just sifting through what's really there. Do I have a belief that is driving this? Like, I need to eat the minute I get home. If I have that thought, it's going to change how I react to everything else from that going forward. And it might be what is really needed here. Do I need to eat right away? Maybe I just need to sit down. Maybe I need to talk to somebody about a situation that I've had that I don't seem to be able to let go of. There's lots of things that I can look at here. So as you go through that, you allow all of that. And what really, really helps though is as you go along, if you nurture when those things are past, when you see what's going on, and really you get that felt sense, that overall experience, not just that immediate, I'm hungry or I'm mad, the emotion up top of the head. It really is nurturing with that, like, oh yeah, it's been a long day and I didn't get lunch, or it was really difficult to deal with that client that was upset with me, or I'm just overwhelmed by all my responsibilities at home. And when I walk in the door, I start to feel anxious. So really being there with self-care, not that I shouldn't feel this way, or just suck it up, princess, or just really, oh, that's what's going on. And often from that, it really can just open up to the next natural, most needed thing. But if it doesn't, it really is useful to go into that self-care is what's needed. What's needed? Do I need some reassurance? Do I need to speak to somebody? Do I need to have a drink of water? Sometimes that's one of the things that I really do need that I don't notice all day long. And so, and I don't want to sit around and say, well, for Nancy, really, why didn't you drink anything today? I want to go, oh, yes, of course, I'll get you a glass of water and we'll sit down for a moment. So it's about tending our inner life with some really serious self-care. And that is so useful and so valuable, especially if we're not finding it outside us at any given time. We bring this through in this way with this RAIN practice. And then it literally is the after the rain. So when you've done those steps, just important to notice, the quality of your presence. And am I really here? Yeah. And just resting in that awareness. So not fighting anything, not trying to push it into too much detail or go on to the next thing. It really is that I'm like, oh, wait, I just got out of coming through a forest that there were so many brambles and trees and big plants in my way. Now I'm in the clearing. And that's what we can do for ourselves with RAIN. And it can literally wash away a lot of cloudiness and stress, all sorts of things like that. So the ideas here are from, like I said, Tara Brach, and there are lots of additional resources in the email that I sent out for this week about RAIN. And there are really some useful practices. There's a written out 4-page thing that describes this exactly. So you can literally print it out and have it in front of you. I put one on my fridge. So if I walk in and I'm out of sorts, I can just run it down right then and there. And the idea that to have somebody else lead that meditation. She has some beautiful meditations, like say in the email, but also just on YouTube. If you go to Tara Brach, Brach, and type in RAIN, though a lot of her meditations on RAIN, and she shows you how to use RAIN in things like forgiving somebody, or when you're having some difficult emotions, or some real deep sadness, or that unrelenting anger with ourselves when we don't feel like we're doing things right, or we should be doing more, better, whatever it is, those kinds of things. To do RAIN on those things can really tone down the intensity of them. And we can learn, like the plants and everything around us, to grow from those kinds of storms that we have. And they can really be this doorway to transformation for us. And so let's start slowing down here. I will thank those people that are watching this later. And you can find out more by sending an email to scientistsage@gmail.com and looking at the channel that is under Scientist Sage as well, the YouTube channel. We've done a lot of these sessions, these Sanghas. And if you want to contact me, you can send things to that email, things you'd like us to talk about. If you'd like to send a donation, you can do it via email that way. If you would like to know more about how to get on the mailing list, you can send an email there. But for now, we'll relax into a little RAIN meditation. So if you're with me live or listening after, feel free to get comfortable, put your feet up. And you can bring something specific to mind if you like. And it can be anything from like physical pain. It was very useful as I went through this year of 2 broken legs. And doing the RAIN on that relaxed my body, so I didn't create more difficulty for myself by being really tense and stressed. And even now in my recovery, I really can notice what things help and which things don't. When I breathe really deeply in the mornings, I can feel those parts of my legs and feet that didn't get sensation back actually opening to more sensation. And when I do the RAIN, I can see where those blocks are and just open up even further. And the one we'll do here today is just the real basic, simple. And there's, like I say, much more complicated ones, longer ones on YouTube that you're welcome to look up and enjoy there too. So, okay, just start by taking a little deeper breath than you might usually. And often this is an immediate doorway to more. Whether you're thinking of a particular moment you've had, maybe an interaction during the day, or maybe a long-standing issue. Maybe you ruminate or you don't support yourself well. Maybe you have a more critical voice than a compassionate one in there. Just notice. Just notice. We're not looking to criticize the critical voice. We're just noticing. And you might be watching this late at night or just before dinner. Notice, is your body comfortable? Is your body tired? Is your body hungry? You might have itchy eyes or sore toes. Just let your attention go through your whole body, head to foot. Notice how it is in your body. And again, not trying to figure it out like, oh, my knee is sore. I shouldn't have done that yesterday. Don't have to worry about that. Just notice, oh, my knee's sore. It's kind of tingly, or it feels like it pulls. Oh, that makes me feel a little worried. You might feel worriness in your chest. It might tighten up, or your jaw might tighten. And lots of times as we open up, one thing leads to another chain of things. If people have been avoiding difficulties, I was talking to someone today who said, I said, how are you? And she still said, I'm still avoiding the conversation. And I said, oh, how did that feel? And when we hit that kind of avoidance, it can feel like a little tension in our body. So you might just browse through your body, see if you recognize any tension. It can be useful to relax different parts of your body, like literally relaxing your brow and your face, even your throat, even your tongue inside your throat, your shoulders, and your arms, down through your chest. Notice your breathing. Down through your legs, your feet. You might get an urge to kick your shoes off. Just notice. And then remember, we're allowing here. We're just allowing whatever's there. Often when we start this with a group of people, people will start to yawn and go, oh, I'm sorry. It's like, no, that's great. That means your body's relaxed. So if you start to yawn, don't worry. And if it just feels like a big fur ball of all sorts of emotions and feelings and sensations, just allow that. Just allow. And that practice of saying, welcome, welcome here. Just noticing and saying, yes, this belongs here. I'll allow this. I'm willingly allowing anything that wants my attention. And then as you've noticed and you're allowing, investigate whatever takes your attention. So there's no right place to start or right thing to choose. Just notice where you desire to know more. I have a sore shoulder, and I wonder a lot what's causing that. And so I might just focus on that for a little bit. And I just noticed recently that when I would slow down like this and do the drill, that I was feeling afraid of people. And so I just want to explore that a bit without any judgment, like I shouldn't be, or I have a good reason to, or anything. Just noticing, like, oh, I feel that in my body, a fear of people. Interesting. And there might be a need that comes up. Often when I start to do this, I feel like I need a drink of water. But I won't do that to begin with. Just notice that. And often sort of make a promise to attend to it later. Because we don't want to figure things out, conceptualize everything, but just bring that real primary presence into our bodies. And often we naturally move into nurturing, the last letter, naturally moving into that. But when we can intentionally choose to nurture, okay, I've allowed this and I've investigated it, and I'm just going to allow it. Maybe it's going to keep unfolding. Maybe I've shut it down suddenly. I'll just notice and I'll be compassionate with myself about it. And if something lovely comes up, I'll bask in it for a little while. And if something challenging comes up, I'll open up with some compassion. Extend what kind of kindness I can. Literally reassuring myself that I'm here, I am listening, I am present. And just really moving through all of those things to find our own goodness and steadiness and really trusting in them. Not taking any moment of distress or physical discomfort to be who we are or how we'll always be. So just come back as you want to. Take your time. Don't let me tear you away from something very interesting. And when you're done, just notice that opening. If it's raised a bunch of things, you might comfort. So just sit with that for a while, and thank you if you have joined us watching this later. And we'll close this for now and then chat a little further with the people that are with me live tonight. I am with you. You are with me. Thank you so much for coming.